Okay, hi again. It's me. And that was probably divine intervention. So I'm not going to go into yesterday. I'm not going to go into today. I'm glad to be here with you guys. I'm going to stay positive. Just had a little sip of my coffee with some cayenne in it. Keep a little pep in my step. I choose to be positive. Okay, so today's episode, you guys are going to be amazed. I actually came up with this myself while I was visiting my daughter in Australia. Oh my gosh, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago. I went to this wonderful beach market called the Mindle Beach Market, and they have some amazing vendors all around. Lots of jewelry, lots of food, different foods, lots of different crafts, the alligator belts and all. And you know what? I don't even know what I bought at the time that I got a little bag. It was probably a piece of jewelry. But I got this little handmade bag from newspaper. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so cute. So you know what I did? I made myself a template, and I made a couple bags. Then I lost the template, and so I've just come up with a new template, and I'm going to share it with you today. So here we go. Let's see, where am I? Make sure I'm here so I can see if you guys have questions. So that, just ignore that first episode of Listen at Lunch just now, because yeah, I'm not going to go into it. I really believe that was divine intervention. Okay, so the paper that I'm choosing to do for my, and I'm laughing because this is how off I am. You know, outside this rectangle again is chaos, and so what you see is just me being real. I'm going to put some more light here. Let's see if that helps. I think that helps a little bit. I went to, we're going to use the Snowflake Splendor, designer series paper. And when I went to make the sampler, I grabbed the wrong template and I put Feels Like Frost. So it's, just ignore this and the colors that coordinate, although Highland Heather is in this, and Balmy Blue, and Seaside Spray, and Purple Posy, I believe, are in, let's see. Nope, just ignore it. So this is the paper. Don't look at this. This is the paper that I'm going to be using today. It is Snowflake Splendor. I put it on the wrong sheet. And it is really pretty paper. And I didn't highlight this one when it was on sale. But I still think it's a good value because they're really pretty papers. Let's see. So I chose to make a little gift bag today with you using the Snowflake Splendor 12x12 designer series paper. And the colors that coordinate are Balmy Blue, Coastal Cabana, Highland Heather, Misty Moonlight, Night of Navy, Pacific Point, Pool Party. So except for the purple, these are all shades of blue. And I'll post the better sampler. You know, I'll post the correct sampler later on so that you can do this. You can see the papers and see the colors that it coordinates with. All right, so I took a piece of the Snowflake Splendor, which is plain. You want a piece of paper if you're going to make these gift bags, which I will give you the template with a $50 order. But if you want to make these bags, you need a design that doesn't have a pattern that goes one way. Because I was thinking about using the Christmas Trimming the Town designer series paper, and it has all these cute little people on it, and they all have most of them have presents in their hands, or they're taking presents to someone, little tiny people. But when you fold it over, of course, half the people are going to be upside down. So you don't want to use, my point being, you don't want to use a pattern that has a direction to it. that you have to follow because it's not going to work. So I chose this piece so that either side would be good. And this piece is 10 1/4 by 6. And I'm going to do a little scoring. I'm going to go over everything that I do to make this with you. And then I'll show you a couple samples. So we're going to score this short side at 1. And I'm using, on designer series paper, you have 2 ends to your scoring tool. Use the bigger end on designer series paper because this little tighter end, because the designer series paper is so thin, you're going to go right through it with this little tip. So just use the bigger tip and don't press too hard, okay? Because you don't want it to tear when you crease it. And I have had these little gnats, doggone it. I've had these little gnats traveling around with me. They're embarrassing, but yeah. So if you see a little bug flying around, it's either a gnat or a fruit. I think it's a gnat, not a fruit fly. Whatever. Okay, so I'm going to take the long side and I'm going to score it at 1 3/4. You guys, I'm real. It's just the way the day's going. I'm going to score it 1 3/4. I'm going to score it at 5. I'm going to score it at 6 3/4, and then again at 10. Okay, and that's really all you need to do with that. We'll set this simply scoring tool aside. Hopefully it doesn't fall over, which would be apropos for the day. All right, then I'm going to pull out my dog bone folder. And I am going to do some creasing. I'm going to, as Pip Todman says, I'm going to burnish my edges. And that sounds so much better than, I'm going to crisp up the edges. Which is what I would say. And in that voice too, yes. So just use your bone folder. Hopefully yours isn't a dog bone folder like mine. Doggone that gnat. All right. And then you're going to score these others. Oh, I choose to laugh. Okay. Thank you, Luann. I'm glad you're here too. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? Okay, so then there's this little tiny portion that you're going to score very carefully. Okay, now you've got all your score lines. And when you score this and you burnish the edges or burnish the score lines, it gives you a better view of where to cut too, because sometimes the paper, the score lines get lost in the paper and you can't even see. So I'm going to cut out, I'm going to go to this little tiny end and I'm going to cut out. Something's going to fall behind us. Be ready for a crash. Or maybe it won't. And then I'm going to just cut the top and bottom portion to the score line out. Okay, then I'm going to, okay, so the bottom is the wider end. So we're going to cut the bottom. And you know, you can bevel your edges in. Bevel, is that the right word? I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. You can do, you can go in like so. And the reason we do this is so that you don't see the lines. I'm shaking today, so this is going to be a cute little mistake bag. All right, here we go. We're going up here too. Shout out to Cindy, my girlfriend Cindy, whose birthday is today. Yesterday was my girlfriend Kathy Dodds. All right. Okay, so these little smaller, narrower ends I'm gonna bevel out, and these flaps I'm not. So I'm just gonna go up, and it just when you put your box together or your bag together, it just kind of gives you a cleaner finish, and I kind of like that. Hello. I didn't get all the way up, so I'm going to do it again. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to do something else that I learned after making quite a few of these, is the top portion here, I'm just going to put a cut straight down and then leave it alone, okay? So there you go. All right, next I'm going to glue this top flap, the shorter side. I'm going to glue this top flap down. I'm glad I'm making you laugh because I started out where it didn't sound like it was going to be fun today. So seriously, it was divine intervention that God had me sideways, because he was telling me to shut up, don't go there, just do your live and be real. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Oh, I love you too, Kathy. You're so sweet. Okay, so I'm going ahead and I am gluing this down. And you know what? If you want to take your bone folder and go over it, yep, just do that. And then you'll probably want to come back and just kind of do a little once over. When you see the end result, you're going to be like, oh, this is so cute. I just know it because I love it. So I think you're going to love it too. Okay, and then while we're, next thing we're going to do, and I think this is going to be fine, this little tiny flap, I'm going to take a little bit of my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to put this on here and I'm going to let it set. Because as I've mentioned before, when I talked about the toolkit, the beauty of this multi-purpose liquid glue, not only do you have wiggle room to line up your projects and, move it around, where tape, your Stampin' Seal, once you press it down, there's no adjusting it without kind of tearing your paper, especially designer series paper. So I put this on because if you let it sit, it becomes tacky like a glue dot. So we're going to let that dry for a little bit, and I'm going to come in with a tool that we don't have anymore, which is called a Crop-A-Dile. And the reason that we sold this, oh my gosh, it was wonderful, is you can set brads and spread them, brads of all different sizes. That was this. There's a 3/16 of an inch hole and an 1/8 of an inch hole on the side here. You want to make sure your fingers are away from anything that would squeeze together, because man, this is a hefty tool, because you can put several pieces of cardstock into this, and it cuts through a lot of sheets. So I'm going to come in here, and these wider flaps at the top, we're working with the top here that's folded over. You can do it this way or you can do it this way. Either way. I'm going to come in with my Crop-A-Dile, and I've set this guide here. If you have one of these, I set the guide so that I could only go so far. And I'm just going to punch a hole. And I'm using the smaller hole because I'm going to string some ribbon through it, and that makes it taut. I mean, the ribbon doesn't slide through and you have to make bulky knots on the other side. Okay, so there's two. Now I'm going to go do the same thing on the other flap over here. And right here. Come on. I'm so shaky today. Even the camera's shaking. And I had to get a new mat because look, I wrote all over this one and it's all yucky. I think I got food on it too, so I brought out a pretty mat, but I didn't secure it, so I'm sliding. I'm all over the place today. Okay, so now we've got, it's starting to dry here. We've got our holes. And the reason that you want to punch your holes before you put your bag together is because if you're using a Crop-A-Dile, you learn from me, because I started to punch holes while the bag was together, and when I put the one edge in, of course this edge caught and I had holes all over the place. So that's why I am doing my holes first before I put the box together, or bag together. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this over, and this is a really easy way, and I'm going to leave this flap up, and you'll see why in just a second. I'm going to fold this over and adhere my bag together. Okay, and then we've got, you know, what looks like kind of a box, and then I'm going to take this flap that I cut and left alone. I'm going to put a little multi-purpose liquid glue on it, and I'm going to, now you can kind of see that little flap that's a different color? I mean, you can see where I put it in, and I don't like that little seam showing because that's just who I am. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to go over the top of it so you don't see that little flap. Okay, you don't see that little seam. It's covered up like it's this perfect little gift bag, right? Okay, next I'm going to take some Stampin Seal Plus, because even though it is a bag, I kind of want this to be really secure, and I'm just going to put a little piece on there, and then I'm going to lift this up so that and put it on the other smaller flap. And the reason I'm doing that is lifting it up is because I don't want to, of course now that I'm one-handed here, I don't want this to attach to my paper and then, oh no, I've got a mess. But that's the story of my life. All right, and then I'm going to drop down, well, let's find the seam, because Miss Perfectionist here, I'm going to put the seam at the back. Okay, seam's at the back. Seam's right here, so I'm going to put this flap down first. Okay, and then you can come in with your bone folder or something. You could come in with the bottom of your multi-purpose liquid glue and just run it, you know, along the bottom so that it's secure. And now you've got the last flap, which I am just going to use my Stampin' Seal just at the top edge. You don't need much more. Okay, and then I'm going to line this up so my ends are nice and even. And then you can come back with the multi-purpose liquid glue. And now you've got this cute little bag, right? Okay, we're not done. We are not done. Okay, so I found the seam. This is going to be the back of my bag. I'm going to push these edges together and kind of go down until this flap wants to come up. And this is the back side because the seam's right here. And then I'm going to lift this, or I'm going to push it down. And now you've got, you know, what looks like a little bag. So easy, right? So all we need to do now is add our ribbon for the handles and put a little cute little gift inside. So I've cut my ribbons already. I'm using the Snowflake Splendor, what is it called? Snowflake Splendor ribbon. It's iridescent, it's really pretty, and it goes perfect with this designer series paper. So here's how I do this. I put a knot in one end. I cut them both evenly, by the way, first. And I put a knot in one end. And be really careful because the end of it kind of frays a little bit. So, you know, when you don't want a big gap here at the end where your knot is and the ribbon is still going. But if you pull it too hard, it'll fray too. So you can always trim that off. Okay, so we're just putting a knot in one end, and then I'm going to come in. I'm going to kind of roll it up, and I'm going to put the end that's not knotted through the hole on the inside of the bag till it stops. And you know what, we can cut off this little, because you know, we can do that later too. See? Calm down. Okay. Next, now we've got one hole in. Now we're going to run this through the front, same way. And pull it all the way through so that you can tie a knot in this end. If you want to make your ribbon longer or you want to use different ones, of course, you do that. I like this because it's kind of thick. The thinner the ribbon, the more apt it is to go through the hole. You know, to pull back through the hole. That's why I chose this ribbon. Alright, so now we have one handle down. I know you're saying it's cute, right? I think it's adorable. You can fussy with it, you know, to make the ends even. Let's see. Alright, so we're just going to do the same thing again. I'm going to put a knot in one end of the ribbon. It's so quiet here today. For the moment. I'm going to hold that thought. Oh my gosh. Okay. Enjoy the little things. And then I'm going to run it through the back side of my inside of my bag, the inside of my bag, and then string it along and run it back through the front of my bag. You guys with me still? Alright, and then put a knot in. See what I'm talking about? I'm manhandling my ribbon, so it's fraying all over the place. Okay. So now we have this darling little gift bag, and if you want to, these don't necessarily lay, you know, stand up like I would like them to, but you know, to fix that, just take a little piece of cardstock and a little circle and tape it right on there so it tapes the knot down, because if you're holding that knot down, it's going to make your ribbon stand up. I hope that makes sense. So adorable, right? And then you can make a bunch of these and then just store them flat so that you've got little gift bags ready to go. And you can get 2 out of a 12 by 12 sheet of designer series paper. Isn't that cute? You can put some ribbon inside. You can put some of these darling little glitter star ornaments. You could hang one of these with a little gift tag off one of the handles of the ribbon. Oh my gosh, that's genius. That would be so adorable. Look at these little glitter star ornaments. They are so stinking cute. How cute would that be with a tag attached to it? Why didn't I think of that before my life? Sometimes. All right, so there you have a darling bag. All right, and let's see what else I have here. I made another one, and I used the opposite side of the paper. Same piece of paper, just the opposite side. Isn't that cute? Same ribbon, same paper. So cute. And then you can just fold them up, set them aside, and then I have a couple more that I made with the heartwarming hugs that I want to show you. And if you are part of my retreat to go, my carry-out kits, you'll be getting one of these. Woohoo! Look how cute this is. And then there's the inside of it. See how I covered up the seams so you don't, I mean, that's a nice little trick to know. Isn't that adorable? I just love this. And this doesn't have to be for Christmas either. We're talking, these are really, really cute. And then here's one more. Made with the Heartwarming Hugs paper. Now look, I didn't learn about that trick, and you see the seam on this one. So that's where I did adjust my pattern so that we hide that seam. Do you see what I'm talking about? Yep. All right. There you go. Really cute bags. I think they're adorable. And I hope you like them too. So let me know. Let me know if you like them. Show me what you made, okay? I would love to see your creations too, because I'm sure there's a variety of ideas out there and you guys are really crafty. So show me what you make as well. I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate you using me as your demonstrator to order your great products for your crafting. Looks like we might be back into quarantine for a while. So friends, I'm your go-to gal so that we can have some crafting therapy together. Please be sure to order your supplies from my website. If you have any questions, oh my gosh, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will help you, and if I don't know the answer, I will find out for you. All right, everyone, it's a beautiful day here in Michigan. The weather is really great. Everybody stay positive today. I love you. Stay well and be blessed.